Hello Africa, hello world, and welcome to the 2021 Accountability Music Awards brought to you by the One Campaign, Accountability Lab, and the African Union Commission. Broadcasting to you from the city of Lagos, Nigeria, my name is Biodo Laro, and I will be your co-host for this prestigious occasion this year. Now, it is my profound honor to introduce my co-host all the way from South Africa, Naledi Molio. First of all, you look absolutely stunning, Naledi.
Oh, thank you, Biadun. It is so amazing to be with you today. I am so excited for what we're going to be getting up to. Thank you so much for joining us. I wish I was there in Nigeria. I certainly would love to visit the country and to see some of the amazing fashion that you are clearly displaying. Well, Biadun, let's get into the real reason why we are here. The reality is that corruption affects the lives of African citizens on a daily basis. Directly or indirectly, corruption degrades the quality of our roads, our public services, like our infrastructure in our schools, and we see it through every aspect of our lives. And essentially, what we're seeing is corruption is breaking that social contract between African citizens and their governments. And not just that, it is also costing us lives.
The 2020 Corruption Perception Index by Transparency International ranked Sub-Saharan Africa as the lowest scoring region in the world. Sub-Saharan Africa scored 32 out of 100 points, well below the global average of 43. Now, reports show that citizens are losing faith in government and institution, and that in itself is a problem in need of solutions. Although it is broadly known that corruption undermines equitable response to fighting COVID-19 and other crises, there have been many reports in African countries of corrupt activities in the midst of the global pandemic.
Yeah, and you know, Biadun, 2021 is the year that the African Union declared as the year of arts and culture. And of course, music falls under this theme. Our music is such a potent tool, right? It's able to shift norms and change behaviors. Now, recognizing this, the One Africa campaign, along with the Accountability Lab and the African Union, have partnered to bring us the Accountability Music Awards. Now, the Accountability Music Awards celebrate artists and musicians whose work contributes to the fight against corruption in Africa. And it works because who does not love a good song, especially when it's work that is changing the world to be a better place?
Fantastic question, Naledi. Now, over the past 6 weeks, thousands of music fans from across the continent have voted on accountabilitymusicawards.org for their favorite songs that challenge corruption and promote transparency while still making hips move. Today, we announced the winner of the award while celebrating African music and emphasizing our shared desire for a stronger, fairer continent.
Well, we have with us today Edwin Eyakuze, who is Executive Director of Twawiza East Africa and Civil Society Co-Chair of Open Government Partnership. We're also joined by Mr. Edwin Ikweria, who is Africa Executive Director of the One Campaign, as well as Jean-Louis Adrien Mifidi from the African Union Advisory Board, along with Blade Lenkos, Director of the Accountability Lab.
We are definitely surrounded by great change makers and personalities in the house today. Now, if you've just joined us, you're welcome to the 2021 Accountability Music Awards. Today, we recognize and celebrate African musicians and artists whose music support the fight against corruption in Africa. So, without further ado, we'll now kick things off with our keynote address. Our keynote speaker today is a towering voice for transparency and accountability in Africa. Edwin Eyakuze is the Executive Director of Twawiza East Africa. Twawiza works to enable children to learn, citizens to exercise agency, and governments to be more open and responsive in Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda.
Well, before joining Twawiza, Aiden was Associate Regional Director of the Society for International Development, which is, of course, the SID, and head of the SID in the Tanzania office. He has 15 years experience as a scenario practitioner through participation in national scenario building projects in Kenya. He did this between the year 2000 and 2010 in Tanzania. in the year 2003, in South Africa in 2004, in Nigeria in 2007, and in East Africa between 2005 to 2008. He co-led the publication of the State of East Africa reports and facilitated future thinking for private sector, for civil society, and for public organizations.
Aiden is an Archbishop Desmond Tutu Leadership Fellow and a board member of the African Leadership Institute, South Africa. He is also a member of the Aspen Global Leadership Network, AGLN, and served on the governing board of the Millennium Challenge Account, Tanzania, until August 2014. Now, he maintains a keen intellectual and professional interest in economic policy, financial markets, and trends in information and communications, technology, and their impact on society. He is currently the Civil Society Co-Chair at the Open Government Partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, Aiden Eyakuze.
Thank you, Naledi and Bioden, for that kind introduction. I'm deeply honored by this invitation on behalf of Twaweza and the Open Government Partnership. And thank you to the African Union, Accountability Lab, and One.org for organizing these amazing Accountability Music Awards. We all have a soundtrack to our life, those songs, those beats, music, and artists who define our youth. Mine range from Michael Jackson and Kool and the Gang to Eddie Grant and Ray Parker Jr. As a teenager, between 1981 and 1987, I attended a high school in Eswatini called Waterford Kamplaba. And there, I fell in love with another kind of music, the anti-apartheid soundtrack, sounds of resistance. Beautiful music in 4-part harmony that accompanied South Africa's successful struggle for liberation. My South African classmates were actively involved in fighting for their freedom, and they taught me many powerful songs of resistance by Miriam Makeba, Hugh Masekela, Johnny Clegg. I could go on. Those songs, sorrowful and defiant, angry and uplifting, woke, fed, watered, and unleashed in me a political consciousness and a hunger to defend human freedom and promote human dignity that has never left me. And that is the effect that unites the 5 amazing nominees for the Accountability Music Awards: Femi Kuti, King Kaka, Winky D, Angelique Kidjo, and Yemi Alade, and Neiwa Mitego. Their music is about the horrible indignities suffered daily by countless millions of Africans because of the official greed, theft, and corruption that goes unpunished and that chokes our continent's progress. The 5 nominees have done 3 things exceptionally well. They have raised their voices, they've exposed some harsh realities, and they have called us to action. My fellow Tanzanian, Neiwa Mitego, claims his voice in the first lines of his song. I stand before you, he says, not a politician, but an artist. I use my craft to speak for my community. In his 6 minutes of spoken word, Wajinga Nyinyi, you fools, King Kaka tells it like it is. He spares no one, politicians, preachers, voters, of their responsibility for the suffering of millions of Kenyans. Yemi Alade and Angelique Kidjo remind us to stand and to walk with our heads straight because respect is reciprocal. And so we celebrate these and many other African musicians who shape our narratives, who share our stories, and who help us to imagine a much better society. We name them and fame them because they give us hope in the future. Theirs is an uplifting soundtrack for our lives. Ours is to move. Ours is to stand up to corruption and with our heads straight to demand more, deeper, better accountability. I will see you on that dance floor. Thank you.
All I can say is wow, wow, wow. Mr. Eyakuze, thank you so much for that insightful and important message indeed. And I agree with you. Curbing corruption is key to getting Africa's development right. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I think this is a good time for some music. And how else do we drive Mr. Eyakuze's message deeper than by doing so with the winner of the 2019 Accountability Music Award? Chioma Ogbonna, also known as Sil, is an alternative singer from Lagos in Nigeria. She is absolutely fabulous. Her musical genres include soul, alternative, rock, folk, and country music with some splashes of Africanness. She's born and raised in Benin to a family of 7, and Sil uses her music as a tool for social engineering, for advocacy, and also for promoting patriotism. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sil.
Hi everyone, my name is Sil. I want to thank Accountability Lab for giving me this opportunity. Being the first winner of the AMA Awards back in 2019 has given me more confidence to walk this path. I remember when I first ever wrote a song that had anything to do with activism or human rights or anything, I didn't get any form of people were just like, oh, that's not what we want to listen to, we want to dance. And being in this position has changed that completely. I feel like people are listening. I feel like I'm part of something important. And I really, really, really appreciate it's an honor to be the first recipient of that award. And I just want to congratulate the new winner of this year's award. Hold it very close to your heart. It is a very prestigious one. And just keep doing the same thing that you've done and even better. I wish you the very best from now and beyond. Thank you so much.
Voice direct.
I don't need to be president to be part of my government. My voice is my platform. The goal is to reform. Silence is golden till your conscience gets frozen. Government for the people, no be people for the government. Government by the people, not government buying people. The blame we push around today will come back to torment us. The bridge we failed to fix today will fall upon our children. So I'm asking you to give it all you got. Oh, I'm asking you to give it all you got. Oh, we
If you've just joined us, this is the 2021 Accountability Music Awards. Today, we recognize and celebrate African musicians and artists whose music support the fight against corruption in Africa. We kicked off with a keynote address delivered by Mr. Aiden Eyakuze, the Executive Director of Twaweza East Africa, followed by a musical interlude by Sil Soul. Now, let's take some remarks from our esteemed representatives from the One Campaign, Accountability Lab, and African Union Commission. With over 19 years in the development sector, Edwin Ikworia is the Africa Executive Director at One, leading One's advocacy work across the continent. Edwin previously managed the Transparency and Accountability portfolio for One in Africa, as well as the Nigeria Country Program.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the Accountability Music Awards ceremony, brought to you by the One Campaign, Accountability Lab, and the African Union Commission. I am Edwin Ikworia, the Africa Executive Director of the One Campaign. Africa's artistic heritage is one of our greatest assets, and our music in particular is enjoying a renaissance on radio waves, streaming platforms, and performance spaces the world over. Our music doesn't just make people move, it makes people think and act for a stronger, more united Africa. As previous generations rallied around the sounds of greats like Miriam Makeba, Salif Keita, and Fela Kuti, today we recognize the current crop of African artists who are using their voices and instruments to rally Africans of all ages and backgrounds around the need to tackle and overcome corruption on the continent. Corruption robs Africa of trust between citizens and institutions. It robs citizens of opportunities, it robs Africa of her dignity on the global stage, and ultimately, corruption cost Africa its most precious asset, which is the lives and livelihoods of its people. Transparency International in 2020 in their Corruption Perception Index ranked Sub-Saharan Africa the lowest of any region in the world, with a score of just 32 out of 100. Highlighting the little improvement from previous rankings and an urgent need for collective action to turn the tide of corruption on the continent. There is no time to eliminate corruption that is more important than in the current climate. With a steady pandemic and a deadly pandemic threatening already fragile economies and our health systems under increased pressure, we simply cannot afford to keep losing precious resources to corruption. Under the African Union's theme for 2021 of arts and culture, and then inspired by Accountability Lab's efforts like Voice to Rep, I invite you all to add your voices to the fight against corruption, because it's a fight none of us can afford to ignore again if we want an Africa that provides education for our children, adequate care for her sick, and opportunities, for our young people. Thankfully, it is a fight that we can take up while enjoying fantastic African music. So congratulations to all the nominees and the winners to be announced today. Your music and your spirit are precisely what Africa needs now. And to our viewers from all over Africa and beyond, thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking a stand against corruption on the African continent.
Well, thank you for those thoughtful words, Edwin. Well, let's hear now from the African Union, and we'll be hearing from Jean-Louis Adria-Mifidi from the Republic of Madagascar. He is a master's holder in international law from the University of Limoges. He has a diploma of advanced studies in judicial law from the University of Madagascar. Now, Jean-Louis has held several leadership positions at the national level, including magistrate's position in the judiciary, government expert on corruption at the Ministry of Justice, also Director General of the Anti-Corruption Office, Director of the National School of Magistracy and Registry, Advocate General at the Court of Appeal, District Attorney, President of the Tribunal, Judge and Investigative Judge. His interests revolve around the legal and judicial field, the field for human rights, environmental law, and adult education. Currently, he is the chairperson of the African Union Advisory Board on Corruption.
La lutte contre la corruption est bien trop pertinente et importante pour être laissée à un seul secteur de la société. C'est la raison pour laquelle, avec nos partenaires One Campaign and Accountability Lab, nous avons choisi de mettre en œuvre et de récompenser les musiciens qui ont façonné leur art afin de pouvoir diffuser le message de responsabilité et de transparence à tous les niveaux. Inspiré par la Convention de l'Union africaine sur la prévention et la lutte contre la corruption, notre mandat est de fournir aux États membres le soutien dont ils ont besoin pour lutter contre la corruption afin de promouvoir la responsabilité et la transparence. Nous sommes conscients du fait que tout le monde est partenaire dans cette lutte qui est une responsabilité collective en tant que telle, mais également une responsabilité individuelle pour faire naître l'Afrique que nous voulons vider de la corruption. Au nom de nous tous, au sein du Conseil consultatif de l'Union africaine sur la corruption, nous saluons et félicitons le lauréat des Accountability Music Awards. Ce n'est qu'un des rôles très importants que moi-même et vous pouvons jouer afin non seulement de promouvoir et de s'inspirer, mais aussi imiter pour créer une Afrique exempte de corruption.
Inspiring words there from Mr. Andrea Mifidi. Thank you so much, sir. We absolutely felt that. And now, a message from Accountability Lab. Blair Glencourse is the Executive Director of Accountability Lab, and the lab works to build accountability of those in power using culture, media, arts, and technology. Blair and his team have done everything from helping to fund the first film school in Liberia, to monitoring and improving public services in Pakistan, to running a global TV show called Integrity Icon, to name and fame honest government officials. Now, Blair is an expert on anti-corruption with the World Economic Forum and a member of the World Bank's Expert Advisory Council on Citizen Engagement. In 2020, he led the G20 Anti-Corruption Working Group, advising the G20 on issues of anti-corruption on behalf of global civil society.
Hi everyone, my name is Blair Glencourse. I'm the director of the Accountability Lab. We were one of the co-organizers of the Accountability Music Awards this year, and we've had an incredible campaign, almost 10,000 votes, and as you know, some amazing songs from across the continent of Africa that relate to accountability and transparency and integrity, which are issues that are more important than ever. Everywhere in the world, we are seeing a lack of accountability, a closing of civic space, an erosion of democracy, and an increase in corruption. And these songs and the messages that they include are the kinds of messages that we need to listen to and that we should lift up, and that will fill us, I think, with energy and a collective sense that something can be done about these challenges. That's why this campaign is important. That's why these songs are really, really important, and why we want to continue to celebrate artists and songs that are about accountability. So whether you listen to the deep lyrics and emotional words of Winky D in Zimbabwe, whether you danced along to Femi Kuti from Nigeria, whether you are thinking about the political challenges that are identified by King Kaka in Kenya, whether you are now going to work on citizen voice as a result of what you heard from Newa Mitego in Tanzania, or whether you are thinking through the poignant lyrics of Angelique Kidjo and Yemi Alade in their song Dignity. These are all incredible songs, incredible artists. And so thank you for all of you, and to all of you for participating in this campaign. We want to take this now from strength to strength, to build on this, to use it as a platform to address the issues that are in these songs. So we appreciate you, we appreciate your participation, and we look forward to working with you to create the societies that we all want to see. Thank you so much.
Blair Glencourse, Jean-Louis Adria Mifidi, and Edwin Ekuria, thank you so much for putting your weight behind this intervention. It is a necessary step in getting the continent moving in the right direction. Well, now the time has come for us to announce the winner of the 2021 Accountability Music Award. Listen, it has been an exciting journey so far. Let's talk quickly about how we got here. For 6 weeks, thousands of music lovers from across the continent sent in their favorite songs that call for accountability and transparency, while also making us move. Now, the winner of this year's award is certainly one that has delivered a song that does just that. He's gotten us dancing, having a good time, but also he's managed to get us to think as well. Well, here it is. The winner of the 2021 Accountability Music Award, brought to you by the Accountability Lab, the African Union, and the One Campaign, is Winky D.
Tinoona setakasungunuka tichiti hatina zvinotishupa kubatana kwenyama nemapfupa asi mweya yakasuduruka tava kufamba tiri tega panyama tisina anotigeza munyama zvatiri nhapwa mukurarama kusadziona dzakachena munana njema 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 dzakambotanga dzakakakanyama iko zvino dzokakatapungwa mukukura ndaingote munyama zvondirwadza pandinozvifunga njema 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 ndaisifunga kuti zvonivasungwa ndivo vari muchizarira kusaziva kuti hobo vasungwa vari panze vari kuzvifarira vachipika mutongo vari panze kusungwa kwepfungwa hatizvivanze tobata chipi chingatinyaradze hanzi kufunga kwedu ngakutiparadze chiraramo chofundwa pazvivhitivhiti tane ruvengo takungorwisana samadzviti akaendepi magungana taionesana chiraramo nemitambo yejiti njema 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 dzakambotanga dzakakakanyama iko zvino dzokakatapungwa mukukura ndaingote munyama zvondirwadza pandinozvifunga njema 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 zvatinoshuwira kuita nemoyo zvese zvinonofira mupfungwa mupfungwa mune honda sepachimoyo ndimo mune chigaro cheusungwa chekatirera tachitanangira hatichagona kuti tichitere ndamboti ndizame kutsanangura ndiri kupa mashoko mbeveve tava kuronda tsika dzechingere matare achapiwa nani kupere vari pasi tinokumbira nzeve tibviseiwo zvakakakanjere njema 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 dzakambotanga dzakakakanyama iko zvino dzokakatapungwa mukukura ndaingote munyama zvondirwadza pandinozvifunga njema 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 njema.
I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers, Accountability Lab, for recognizing my project, Njema, which simply describes the shackles of the true prison that we often ignore. This prison is deep in our mental states, as driven by lies, corruption, poverty, cowardice, and all the other societal ills that you can imagine. These mental shackles continue to limit our dreams, our hopes, our aspirations for a better and more sustainable world. It wasn't easy to put up this project since poverty itself is a divisive state. Representing the truth about it is even more contentious given the varied vested interest and opinions around it. Be that as it may, no one can dispute that every human being matters and deserves to be unshackled from the chains. Njema. I wrote this project not to merely amuse the audience, but to also extend the thought power around the purpose of music in a society. The words in music are a common currency that people can enjoy without worrying about fluctuations. music is always best when driven by experience rather than hearsay or imagination.
Big congratulations to Winky D. We are absolutely proud of you and all of your accomplishments. Thank you so much for championing the cause. Now, this is where we wrap today's event. A big thank you to all of our guests and our speakers today. Thank you so much to all of our viewers for joining us, and a huge shout out to the Accountability Lab, African Union Commission, and the One Campaign for pulling this off. It's been absolutely wonderful to recognize and celebrate the amazing work from our African artists in our collective fight against corruption. Now, hosting this event has been a pleasure for Naledi and I, and we're super excited to have done this with you. Now, do enjoy the rest of your day, happy holidays, and cheers to all of the greatness to come in 2022. Goodbye, everybody.